Hi there, it's Lavender Sky Panther with you Thursday, September 14th, skipping on over into Friday, September 15th already. And it's time to play. Yes, I say play a little. What's up? Let's see. SEA today with the cards. So I have been doing a little too much work just now, and I figured it'd be perfect time to do this little reading. And hopefully it's playful and lighthearted. We'll see what the cards show. Anyway, we can thank my playlist for this. I had turned on the playlist to keep going with some patching and painting of walls and hanging curtains and all kinds of things, and I needed some music to keep going. And the song that came on first was Depeche Mode, It's No Good. Now, that was on the soundtrack of Aquaman, for the movie from 2018. That's how I even found it or knew about it. So anyway, with that theme, we're going to do sea stuff. And so we're going to be looking at cards that involve mermaids and Atlantis and all kinds of things. So that being said, there are three groups. There's a little underlying message back here too, message in the bottle back here. What message would you write for today? Would you write it for yourself? Would you write it for others? That's just a little challenge. What would be in your bottle? As it is, this one was a thank you for people from coming over for a gathering. So I think it just said thank you for your friendship and for coming. So what would you write? You know, the paper's blank. Write anything you want. Okay, also, we're going to have here now three groups. As I always say, you can pick one, two, or even all three, however you feel like it. So the first group is this blue calcite over here, a piece of blue calcite, and this, I want to say like a tropical reef fish is what it looks like. Group two is this beautiful Amazonite piece of crystal. And this is actually, I had to look it up. It's a leafy sea dragon. It is not a seahorse. It is a fish. And apparently it doesn't live in the warm tropical reefs. It lives in the cooler rocky reefs, it says, off of South and Western Australia, if I can trust the source there. And then group three is this beautiful purple whale. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a humpback whale or a pilot whale, something like that. And this is a piece of amethyst as the crystal. Now, let's see what we get to. So those are the three groups, 1, 2, and 3. Make your choice and let's get into it. So, okay, group one with this lovely reef fish and blue calcite. First up, we have, this is from the Mermaid Tarot deck, and I'll put everything in the description box below of where the cards come from. But anyway, we've got this merman, and he's very serenely tending, or not tending to, at first it kind of looks like he's tending to a field. He's got a basket on the back, but really what he's doing is he's planting these sticks that have these, it looks like lava-filled orbs. And this is the 9 of Wands. So 9 is a number of completion. It's a number of bounty here on this card. And he seems completely unfazed by the explosive activity going on all around him, the smoke. It just looks like he's taking a walk in the park, and like he does this every day, all day, matter of fact, no big deal. In fact, he's even holding this piece, you know, this orb of lava in his hand. So clearly he possesses some type of mechanism, or you know, this community of merfolk know how to handle or encapsulate that raw lava and make it harmless. And so he really is just, you know, moving along. Reminds me almost of like a shepherd with a staff and just, you know, herding the sheep, just planting his little sticks. So anyway, also on the tail here, it reminds me of pottery, actually. It reminds me of this molten part reflecting up in his scales and whatnot. Reminds me of when you drip like an orange glaze over an already blue, like a cobalt blue vase or pottery. Just looks really like pottery to me, so he almost looks like a statue. But anyway, a beautiful figure there. He's tending to things, not fazed by any turmoil that might be seemingly happening around him. He's got beautiful focus. He's got the right hand. We talked about this in previous reading. The right hand is directing energy out, down to that staff as he plants it firmly in the ground. All right, we're going to move a little bit along. We'll come back if we need to. So now you have another card. Now this one is coming from the Earth Alchemy Oracle. And in the background, they're showing the stone, and that stone is turquoise. So they're showing the little black veins or fissures in that in the background with forget-me-nots in the front. So we've got this blue happening here. And I want to say that overall, we're going to look at the next card too, a little surprise card here. This one is coming from the Enchanted Art Oracle deck. But we've got the blue contrasting a bit nicely, you know, playing off of the orange. And I'm getting a sense, and actually we got the blue and orange even on the fish and the blue calcite. So I want to say this might be worth looking into an artist's color wheel, where you have the red, yellow, and blue balancing out as the primary colors, and then you have the green, purple, and orange as the secondary colors. So this is very much about balance and being poised and in command of your craft. Maybe it's even an invitation to get back into, or not get back into, maybe you're already in it. But if you don't do it much, maybe dabble with some doodling or some colors. Do a mandala, or just start sketching and using different colors, different things, like can be paints, it can be even just simple markers or crayons, just, or colored pencils, just something to get going and get that expressive creative side going in a not a methodical way, but be creative, but maybe just to balance out your activities. Maybe your day-to-day life feels a little out of control, or you just want something to balance and focus on. Maybe some of those are some things to look into. Okay, now back to this card from the Earth Alchemy. It says turquoise and forget-me-not balance, which we just talked about. Cracking open, deep healing, balancing karma. When I see the word cracking, I want to almost say crackling, because this does look like crackle glaze, again, going over pottery. But anyway, we are talking about balance. We are talking about, these almost look like, if you look at these little veins on the turquoise, almost look like the figure of these sticks, holding these orbs, which look like gems. They're really beautiful, illuminating. Let's see. All right. Let's see what else we can tie in together. Let's go here and see what this card is. Okay, so we've got stairs leading up, and we've got these two girls sitting at the bottom of the steps with a flood of water, like a tide's kind of rolling in. Looks like seagulls flying about, or seabirds. It says, share your cares. So actually, I'm a little confused by the message, because it looks like they're actually carefree and don't have a care in the world. So I'm going to kind of question that, unless I'm just interpreting that wrong. The statement down there, share your cares, or maybe they have already shared them and now they just let them go in the wind, and just kind of let them go, and kind of are waving them goodbye. And it's almost like maybe these seagulls are just coming in to lift them up, like their hair is blowing up in the wind upward. Maybe it is just like lifting their cares that they have shared, maybe even not with each other, but just silently with the divine. So maybe that's part of the message. Now I am drawn to the steps leading up, and we don't quite see where they're going. It almost doesn't seem to matter, because again, they're kind of carefree. They could care less where that's, how far they've what they've had to do to get there, and how far they've had to journey to get here. It's almost like they always just sit here and always just take in the scene. And kind of like this too, with this person, he's just kind of like, yep, this is what I always do. I take care and make sure that we always have these things illuminated and that there's plenty of sticks. It's just what I do. He doesn't seem to be complaining about his task or his job. I had a very big lessons learned one time when I was doing some temporary work, and I showed up and I just thought, oh gosh, this is not what I want to permanently do. It's just very temporary work. And just, showing up in different places. There's always some different people to work with, which was okay. But I thought, oh gosh, this is definitely not what I want to do. I want to get back in and focus more on my craft and do other things. But I learned a valuable lesson, because one of the other coworkers reminds me of like this guy. I said, oh, well, what do you want to do after, this temporary work? And she said, no, I love doing this. I have plenty of time. I live with my aunt and I go home, and there's plenty of time to do everything. And I really love this. So that temporary work was her main work, and she really loved it. And so, it's just a matter of perspective too. Like, he's very far down at the rim of this crater. It looks like he's far down because by comparison, there's a big volcano way up above him, it looks like, in the distance. But who knows? Maybe he's at the top of a very high volcano and there's depths way below him. So we don't know where he's at in this journey of working on these sticks. And it's an interesting story here. Is this what he does just around this one rim of this volcano? Or does he go around to all of the different volcanoes and do it? And why is he doing it? So I know this group is going all over the place with my reading, but maybe it's a question of, okay, you're really good at what you're doing and you're methodically doing it, and you can do it all day, every day like a pro. I guess, and maybe there's just a question in there. Are you really happy doing that? And that is everything you want to do, and you are set, and then that's a great gift. Or are you kind of getting tired of doing the same old thing, even though it's peaceful and balanced? Are you in a state of not taking any risks, or going for other things that, that might kind of help push you out of your comfort zone a little bit? And so just see where that sits with you. Maybe it's enough that you feel on fire, so to speak, enough just doing what you're doing. That is your passion. You enjoy it, and you're right where you want to be. But take this as an invitation. If you're not quite, just know that you can still be perfecting what you do, even if you step outside of this comfort zone and get off the rim a little bit and explore out in the unknown a little bit. Okay, I know that went all over the place, but maybe you got something out of it, hopefully. And now we're going to move on to group 2. Hi, group 2. You've got the Leafy Sea Dragon and Amazonite. So let's see what you have and if any messages come through for you today. If not, no worries. Choose a different pile, or maybe there's just a different reading altogether in store for you coming up in the future. But anyway, we're just going to start off with this 8 of Wands, and we've got this beautiful mermaid. She's reaching up with her left hand. Her right hand is out behind her, just kind of really about what I want to say. Kind of almost like a ballet pose, and it's just maybe to tread the water a little bit and stabilize her as she reaches up. She seems very at ease and knows that she wants to reach up for that one, even though all of these orbs, these lava orbs on sticks, are, kind of exploding up out of this vent of this volcano. It looks like she doesn't care, even though these might be going all over the place and be a little chaotic. She seems like in a state of repose, like, hey, I've got this. I got all the time in the world. So you know what? I'll just reach for this closest one. No big deal. Now, I do want to go back to group 1 because they seem a little related. You see, we had 9 of Wands, and now we have 8 of Wands with her. But they both seem like, okay, this is, he was very much about balance, and this is what I do all day, every day, no big deal, even though it seems like it could be threatening otherwise, but he really doesn't take it that way, to the fact that he can even just hold this orb filled with lava and he's protected. Now here, it's kind of like a little bit similar, but opposite. Like, these are all exploding out. This could be very chaotic, but nope, I got a handle on it. No big deal is what she's saying. I do this all day, every day. This is what I do. I just wait for these things to come flying out. And I collect them, and who knows, maybe she even collects them up and then, brings them back down to wherever he's working and puts them in a little basket. But we don't know. So what's the story here? Why is she here? Why is she collecting these things? And not to be disrespectful to this mermaid, but it's funny. It's kind of like her attire. It also doesn't even seem to fit for the task that she's doing. It's almost like she stumbled out of bed and yet, has this call to come do this task. Anyway, there's a big backstory there. I'm not sure quite what it is, but as this might relate to you, maybe it's like, no matter how challenging something may seem, you're just ready to go. You're coming as you are, like her, like I'm fondly saying, she stumbled out of bed just like in her pajamas almost to come and do this very serious task. It's almost like, don't sweat it. Don't worry about anything, because you've already got everything within you to come and show up as you are and handle it. Like, you don't have to prepare a speech or anything. You just like close your eyes, meditate, and say, okay, bring it through me, divine God, whatever you want to do, just bring the words through me. I'm ready to go. I'm yours. Let's do this thing. And you don't have to sit there and do endless toiling things. This could be a very serious, stressful job for a lot of people to collect these things, but she's just like, I could do this like with a hand behind my back type of thing. Anyway, that's all I'm getting from that one. And look she's very close to the surface. She's almost reaching the top, and she's like on top of the world, right? Compared to this guy, we think he might be lower down in the depths just because we don't see the light at the top. But she's reaching for the light. She's going for the gusto, and it kind of seems like a thrilling ride, like this little element of risk and whatnot, and just seems to really propel her upward and give her a little bit of fire under her ass, so to speak, literally, to keep her going. And it just seems like a thrilling, yet, could also be a mundane, okay, I do this all the time type of thing. But at the same time, she seems comfortable in that element. Now, we talked about group 1, that maybe he's a little too comfortable. I mean, he's very balanced. Does he like it like that? Is that what he really loves to do? Or would he like to challenge himself a little bit more and step out of the comfort zone a bit? I get the same feeling here. It's like, is she tired of doing this all the time? You know, assuming she does. Would she rather try something else? But I don't think so. She seems totally in her element and wouldn't want to have it any other way. So see what you feel too. Do you feel like this? Do you feel like you have to always be on fire, always catching these things? Would you like to change it up, or maybe even just have a vacation? Or do you love being in it? And that is your vacation, is your work, your play, so to speak. All right. Let's move along. Now we also have from the Earth Alchemy deck, Earth Alchemy Oracle. This is called Gold and Apple, Rewriting. Queen Codes, Herstory instead of history. Healing Distortion. Okay, so we've got a crown with some gems. We've got a golden apple, which is an orb. We've got like the scales of justice and balance. Let's see how this might relate. Actually, this golden orb here, it's kind of orange and red and golden, reminds me of like this ball of fire coming out of here. Even each of these could even be the little golden apples, right? So let's go back and see what this says again. It is rewriting. So Queen Code's Herstory, Healing Distortion. Interesting. Well, Healing Distortion, we can only imagine that with all this burst of heat and light, you get like that mirage effect even in the water. So like a shimmering effect. You don't see things that clearly. Things are distorted. But, none of that is fogging or clouding her vision. So to me, it doesn't seem like if there's anything with distortion, you're probably not dealing with too much to do with healing. It seems like you maybe have already gone through all of that, gone through that trial by fire, so to speak, and clearly have your eye on the prize. There's no distortion there for you by contrast. And maybe here too, rewriting. So rewriting history, herstory, queen codes. Well, clearly she has like this queen energy, even like Queen of Swords, and just moving up. She knows exactly what she wants. She's putting that energy, just explosive, radiating out from her. Her whole aura is like, I have got it all. But she does still have a little bit of the Queen Cups, I would say, Queen of Cups, because she's got total balance in her energies as well. And even though she's going for this, she's in a very kind of receiving pose with her arms outstretched the way they are. So maybe the rewriting is, rewriting. Yeah. So this way, she's already written, I think, all of her story. And I guess the question would be is, do you have anything you want to rewrite? Or is everything flowing and going exactly as you want it? And, maybe just ponder that question. There's no harm, no foul either way. Then we have what else on this card, if there's anything worth talking about. Okay, here's story Queen Codes. I'm not really getting anything so much from Queen Codes. Let's see. Other than, obviously, you do not need a crown to be a queen or a king, so to speak. The crown, actually, corona in Spanish, right? Crown, we have a crown or corona around the sun. There's a lot of meanings for crown. This is more like, to me, she has this crowning achievement, this crowning moment that she's able to do with ease every day, all day. So I would just say that for this group, you just seem to be on top of your game, or if you aren't right now, you're about to be. And just remember, you've got it all within you. You are the gems. You are, the thing of value, and everything else around you can come and go, but you've got it in you all day, every day. Okay. And don't worry about if you don't know what it is, there might be an opportunity just literally like erupting right at your feet, and you'll know what to do. You'll know what to grab for or what to leave behind or just let pass by you. Okay. So just keep that confidence. Maybe that's kind of a queen code thing. You just possess an inner confidence. And if you're not feeling like you do, and you're like, no, I don't, I'm feeling a little shaky, well, the volcano is really mighty and shakes quite a bit, as it erupts. So it takes time, for that to happen, to get that explosive power built up. And so don't worry about it if that's you and you just find yourself not quite at the top yet, at the top of the surface. If you still find yourself down in here, don't worry about it. It's all a journey, and that's the part of the whole fun, is being on the journey itself, not breaking through the surface necessarily, and her coming up out of the water, kind of her ride from the bottom of the depths and flowing on up here with the thermals would be over. So enjoy where you are right now. All right, I know that was all over the place, but that's how these readings are sometimes. Now let's see, you have another card too. And this is from the Enchanted Art Oracle deck. And let's see what we got. We have It's Okay to Have a Voice and Speak Your Truth. So this is interesting because we have this, this pair. They're very dapper in their dress, obviously in fancy dress with the tux and nice ball gown. What's interesting is he's adorned with some type of rose or white flower on his left side over his heart area, and she's got a presumably like a diamond brooch or decoration in her overall heart space and her heart chakra there. Now, what's interesting is she's carefree, that doesn't seem to have a care in the world. Again, looks like she's practiced and she does this all day, every day, or maybe even she just has it within her and doesn't practice a day in her life. But what's interesting is just the positioning of her hands. They're mirroring, like her hand is up here. It's not like she's reaching for his hand, but she's reaching up and holding on to his hand while the other one is out, just kind of balancing like hers. And so we're dealing with the same kind of archetype in a way. It's like she knows that she's got everything within her. She's kind of on fire. She's got the red dress. Even her skin is glowing, is luminous like this. And it's almost like she is the embodiment of the volcano. She's like, I'm on fire, and when I spin and dance, and I know it, and I can do this. I just feel the music, and I have it within me. I don't even have to try, right? And so she's absolutely like owning this like queen code message down here, right? Queen codes. So here she is. She's got, jewels adorning her hair, but she doesn't even need that crown to just know she is that queen and she's on fire, right? That's all I'm getting for this group. And now we're going to go to group number 3. Oh, one more thing before I do. The scales too remind me of the balance. And so we've got the man figure here. He is more or less serving as like an armature for her. He's that kind of golden balance, the scales, and he's balancing her out while, just to hold her just gently so that she can then twirl around, not balance her out, but he's like the balanced point that she can just twirl about and be the thing that's, noticed and on fire. Okay, now we're going to go to group 3. All right, group 3. You have this beautiful amethyst crystal, and I think it's a purple whale, but I don't know if it's a humpback or a pilot whale, something like that. All right, so let's get to your cards. Now, the first one up is this beautiful whale, and this is this is number 8, strength. Okay. Now, what's interesting is this position of this whale, driving. Well, first of all, we see that the whale is trapped in some netting, presumed fisherman's netting, and this mermaid is kind enough to come and loosen it up so this whale can be freed and rise up to the surface. Now, I did have to look it up because I always am curious about these grooves in the throat of the whales and what they're called, and I know they're more than just grooves, and it turns out that they are called ventral pleats or ventral grooves, and they're there so that the throat can really expand when it opens up to just swallow in a whole bunch of water and fish or whatever it's going to do, so that allows that kind of gullet or whatever it's called, the throat to expand, and that's what they're there for. So, but I also like that the motion is kind of playing counterpoint to the lines of the netting, and that they're all moving like water, moving upward like ripples of water. So it's very beautiful imagery. And the whale does not seem to be struggling. It does seem to be strong, and it knows that it's going to be freed. And it just, as long as it swims upward, it's going to get out. And it knows too that there's a gentle hand of somebody helping. So strength doesn't mean always, oh yes, I'm going to do everything by myself. A lot of times strength is acknowledging that, yes, in order to be strong, I can use, be even more powerful with a little bit of help. Okay, so maybe if anybody's having trouble admitting they need help with something, just know that it takes a strong person to recognize when you need help and when you don't also. Okay, in the meantime, let's move on to, so we have the Atlantis card over here. And what's interesting here is you have the Wheel of Fortune. It says karma, destiny, change, fortune, cycles, unexpected. Okay, so the first thing I notice here is it just so much reminds me of these ventral grooves with these arches, playing and echoing off of this with the whale. And of course, we have strength with arches and, these columns, these pillars going down, presumably anchored like piles or, deep, deep, deep down into like hopefully reaching bedrock or something down here. let's see. So change, yeah, Wheel of Fortune is also change, bringing positive change and the unexpected. So we could play off of this. Yeah, be completely unexpected to be kind of caught in a net or caught in a web. Maybe you've had something come up in your day that was just completely unexpected, took you totally off guard and off centered, and kind of weakened you in the sense, temporarily that like perhaps you didn't know how to react to the situation right away. Maybe you were a little off balance and not operating from a core of strength in that moment. Maybe it took a little while to get your footing, so to speak, and get back to, working from a point of strength to move through it. But it shows that no matter what, you're still going to be on your way, if not already, to a positive outcome and solution because you are, reaching up and coming up into the light. You're leaving the darkness behind, and you'll even be able to glimpse, the surface, whereas down here, this is the state of before the change, being down in the depths, because you still got the light, you got, something to shoot for. And, there's definitely a way out if whatever situation you're in, if you're in a situation you don't want to be in anymore, you are not stuck. You are not stuck. And if you feel stuck, it's an illusion, right? A lot of times we keep ourselves, like who knows how long this whale was down there before the mermaid showed up. And if the whale had just given up and then got another little kick in the butt, a little extra strength, with this mermaid coming in to remind him to, or him or her to, come on, keep pushing, keep going up. So it might be a call to call a friend literally and say, hey, can you help me? Say you have to sort through a whole bunch of stuff. Say you've always wanted to purge and clean and declutter, and you just can't get through all those piles of papers, and it just seems like, I can't emotionally deal with all the energies of this old stuff. This is just one example of many. You might want to call somebody to literally kind of be a watch guard and stand over you and say and point like, nope, put that in there, throw that away, put that there, throw that away, keep moving, come on, don't look at it, just throw it in the bin, throw it away, or put it in the box to keep. But just somebody to kind of be there for you to help direct you a little bit as she's helping to direct guide this whale out, just to get out in the perfect way out of that opening that she's holding, and creating space for that whale to get out. So maybe that's just something, it's a little example of what you might be looking for. And if you already feel strong and are, connecting more with the strength part of this card and not the water emotion side, but more of the structure here, say you're already structured and feeling strong, then maybe this is just a little call to remember your soft side a little bit. Maybe there's moments where you've been too strong and maybe you want to soften up a bit. Okay, now we're going to look at one more card. And this one is from the Enchanted Art Oracle deck. And this one says, what does this say? Here she's sitting here. This says your talents and gifts are calling you. Now, what this reminds me of with your talents and gifts are calling you is, hang on, let me get this straight, is the calling of the whales to each other. The whale song. And maybe that's something you want to look into a little bit deeper, pun intended, how they call each other and what the miles, how far those calls can go, those sonar calling ranges of the whale songs. I think there's also some music like on YouTube you can check out for whale songs and stuff. Maybe that's something you want to connect with or look more into. Now, she has that like a depth, like a cavern or something behind her, but she's not even looking at it or fazed by it. She's in the light. She's not in that darkness. That's not even in her world. And she's just looking down intently. I'm not even sure. Is that like a little treasure chest? I can't even quite tell what that is. But it seems like, okay, the way she's like kind of, she's not biting her fingers, but she's just, I don't know, the way her hand is posed, she seems a little nervous. She seems a little not sure if she should open that box or really go for what's in there and see what's in there. So she's holding back. And so this is just a reminder that if anything seems to be keeping you reserved or keeping you like sitting a little too close to a comfort zone, maybe that's like a hole she like tucks up in and sleeps in at night or something, she's okay. She's being emboldened and she's sitting now out on the outside of it and contemplating opening up to a bigger world around her. But she's still staying pretty myopic, pretty, focused just internally. So maybe this is a call to be like this, more like the whale, and really rise up, get out of what might be holding you back, like that net, and just open the darn box, see what's in there, let a huge light shine out. Or if it's not that, don't be afraid of whatever it is in there. And just, instead of being kind of reserved and keeping very internal, throw your hands up in the air, make that V for victory symbol, and see what comes on into your world. Maybe don't stay down here too long, isolated. Rise up to the surface. Rise up to the surface. Okay, I think that's about it for now. I hope you found something in here enjoyable, all three groups, and I wish you all the best. Tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.